Hi, book lovers. I'm Peg, the book prize lover, and I've got yet another interesting looking prize to talk about today, one you may not have heard of, but something to think about while we are waiting in anticipation for the Man Booker International Award list to come out next week. I believe it's on the 13th of March. My favorite Goodreads group is going to great lengths to. They have a list of all the books that are available. What do you call it? that could make that eligible. That's the word. That could be on that, and they're having a great time talking about it. So I thought this is also a translation award. There may possibly be some on this that will also be on the Man Booker International Award. Anyway, so this is the a translation prize sponsored by the French American Foundation, which has been around since 1976. And the purpose of this foundation is to advance the dialogue between French and American leaders. They have programs for young people, etc. But one of the main things, since they've had this translation prize from French into English for since 1986, and it has both a fiction and a nonfiction category. I will just be talking about the fiction category here, but you can click the link below and see if you're into nonfiction what they've chosen from that. It looks like there's going to be a big ceremony on May 14th in New York, party to announce the winner, and something about the ambassador, French ambassador coming. So, gee, I wouldn't mind getting tickets to that. Anyway, okay, let's just quickly go through the 5 books that are on there. First, we have one called Slave Old Man. You may have heard this before because it was one of the finalists for our National Book Critics Award in fiction. This past, yeah, actually it was this year, not just a month or so ago. And this Chamizo is the author, and he's known as one of the most, what do they call it, innovative and subversive authors in writing in French today. I'm not sure what a subversive author is, but writer is, but anyway. But this is a story. It delves into Caribbean history, and it's the story of an elderly slave who escapes from the plantation that he's on, and he is chased through a rainforest by the owner of the plantation and some sort of fearsome hound are following him, and it evidently goes into sort of a hallucinatory trip, and quite descriptive with lots of images. It does sound kind of good. Okay, next we have Imaginary Lives. This was actually published in France over 120 years ago. It was one of the first fictional biographies and has kind of been an example all these years for other biographies. It has 22 portraits of what they call marginal characters from history. Like they'll take a main character, I believe one was Joan of Arc, and it's not about her, it's about somebody who was around with her during that time. And like I say, marginal, all of them are like the second person tier down from the really important person. And this is a new translation, even though it was written 120 years ago. Next we have The Hospital by Bonanni. This is actually taken from the author's life, or used as a start. He was in a hospital, tuberculosis, TB hospital. I didn't realize they even had those anymore. This was written in 1989, but it's based on his experience, and it becomes kind of a strange nightmare. Kafkaesque, one reviewer said, and somebody else said it was like Magic Mountain taken through a meat grinder. So that looks interesting. Okay, next I have a couple that I've actually heard of and have copies of here. The first one this is the American edition of Tell Them of Battles, Kings, and Elephants by Enard. I'll bring up my copy. This is the copy I had already ordered, the Fitzcarraldo copy back when it first came out, and read this one. And it's amazing. This is kind of a succinct short book, and this author Enard has had several books that have been on different translation lists, but is one of my favorite translations of all time was his novel Compass, which was many layered and many paged, and actually told the story of a musical historian through one night as he's thinking through things in his life. And the part I like best, I kind of like classical music, and it talked a lot about Orientalism and how it affected music, and segued into modernism in music, and gave Mahler is probably the best example of that you can hear parts of both in here. I really like the music, and there's also a list of music that you can listen to. I think it's on Spotify that goes along with the book. Okay, enough of that book. This book is much shorter, and it's actually a fictional kind of biography of Michelangelo. It's based on a possible historical fact, but in it he goes to Constantinople in order to design a bridge against the straits through the straits there. And in it you see how the Ottoman Empire, things about the Ottoman Empire and how he reacts to it. And as I said, it's a short read, but very, very effective. And I have seen this on several reviewers' lists of a big possibility of being on the MBI. We'll see. Okay, and last we have Small Country. This is actually on quite a few possibility lists too, and it has already been a prize-winning bestseller in France before it was translated. It's a coming-of-age story of a young boy 10 years old in the country Burundi, and he lives a very good life until his country is overcome by civil war. And it's not very long, but a lot of people have spoken well of it. So if you've read it, let me know if you think it'll be a possibility, or if you like it. So that's the 5. I'll be kind of looking through those. I'm waiting in anticipation for the Man Booker International to come out. But until then, I'll be taking a look at some of these. Okay, happy reading, everybody. Bye.